Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Happy new month. I know I said I was gonna start coming on here looking more presentable, but because you guys have been waiting for a new video, I'm just gonna give y'all the raw, uncut version of myself. You know, the crusty dusty just woke up, getting things done for y'all version, okay? So today we're just gonna be going through my January monthly budget. And I started my February monthly budget, but obviously February just began. Today is February 4th. So you guys will probably be getting this video tomorrow morning, February 5th. But yeah, so if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. Y'all already know I can't spell, so if y'all see a spelling typo, kindly put it in the comment section. I will update it. And if you guys are interested in my personal budget sheet, it is a work in progress. I'm figuring out the best ways to budget, but if you guys are interested in it, let me know and I will add it to the description bar. I don't know why I just said it like that. I think I lost my train of thought. I'm just trying to come back from it real smooth. Guess I just told myself, but yeah. So let's get into the budgeting. Bye. Okay, you guys, welcome to my January budget reset. Like I said, don't come for me if spelling is not spelling like how it needs to. Obviously, in this very first section, I'm trying to figure out how to use a computer again. I think I'm getting old. I don't know what it is, but I accidentally deleted everything, and I didn't need to delete everything, so I'm like vigorously pressing the back button, but it's not working. So I gave up with that and just decided to type everything back out, which ended up being very, very cute. So now I've kind of done that, I'm going into trying to figure out what do I want to modify, what do I want to keep, and all that good stuff. Again, I was trying to figure out formatting in this very first section, so bear with me. Just know when you guys receive this, if you are interested in the monthly budget sheet, it will be way better. So now I'm just kind of taking this old version of my budget sheet and just figuring out the different things I want to change. So one thing off the bat that I'm noticing is that my fixed expenses is not really aligning with my life anymore. Let me zoom out a little bit for you guys so I can see better. But yeah, my fixed expense doesn't align with where I want to be anymore. Okay, so now I've kind of figured out what I want to modify with this. So I just basically copied over my old fixed expense sheet that I used to use in the past, and I've kind of like decided I want to modify it so that instead of it being fixed expense, it be shared expense versus personal expenses, just because I really want to see, one, the shared expenses, how much that attributes versus my own personal expenses, just so I can have a better idea of what is coming in and out of my own bank account and what's not. So for shared expenses, I will have, as some of you guys know, I own my own property, so I have my house expense, my phone expense, and y'all, very, very good hack if you're currently, on your family plan and thinking about getting off of it, just stay on to your family plan and just offer to pay a little bit more of your phone bill, just because it's extremely cheap to just stick to a family plan versus getting your own plan. Next, I'm just putting in, your typical utilities that you would see: electricity, keeping insurance the same. I'm editing this out just because I don't like the format of my subscriptions being separate anymore, just because honestly I don't really need all my different subscriptions to be separate. They can all kind of just be lumped into one, and a lot of my subscriptions I've kind of gotten rid of in an effort to save money. So now I'm just kind of going into the different bills that I do know off the top of my head for the month of January. So these are shared expenses, but also / fixed expenses for the most part. The things that do change variably will be like my utilities, but for the most part I get this information in the previous month. So I got these bills in December. You guys, me and freaking Google Sheets was fighting this day. So I'm taking out insurance just because I don't really need that as a separate expense, because I do pay that on a 6 months basis. So when that next payment comes out, it'll just be like a larger expense. Thinking out loud, I actually might create for the month of February maybe a insurance savings bucket. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts? Put them below. Anyway, I am now just reformatting my sheet like I mentioned before. You guys, it took me forever to figure out the best way to format it, but essentially I'm just going to delete out those columns and then copy over that same shared expense bucket that I just created. Before that, I'm putting in my electricity bill. My phone bill hadn't came out at this point, so that one is TBA for right now. And then I put in my house mortgage expense. But yeah, now I'm just gonna copy this over, paste it over to the other side, and again change this over to my personal expenses. I'm trying to keep formatting as similar as possible, as you guys can tell. Yeah, so now instead of house, I'm switching that out to rent, my own personal electricity, because again my phone is tied into my shared expense bucket already. Perfect. Now I'm just putting in my other personal expenses that I can think of, keeping the sheet nice and pretty, and just deleting out all the things that I can delete out, and then putting in the prices that have already come out. And just to preface you guys, for January and February, I do expect for my expenses to be a lot higher. So now that I'm kind of done figuring out my personal expenses, I am now copying it and trying to paste it back into the rest of my expenses. Obviously that didn't work, but now I'm just gonna delete out the bottom. You guys, again, I'm just reformatting my personal budget to fit my new lifestyle. So if you are utilizing anybody else's budget sheet, make sure you reformat it so that it fits you and where you're at in life. So as I mentioned, you guys, I took the majority of the month to kind of like do this budget. So this is like maybe the second week of January, and my phone bill has came out, so I'm just adding that back in now. And that is not my own personal phone bill, right? That is my entire family phone bill, just in case you guys were like, hey, you said it was gonna be a lot cheaper. But yeah, so in this next section, I basically kept it the same from my previous expense book. Now I'm just putting it in over my last month's rollover, and I do keep this exclusive to my main bank account, just because the other bank accounts that I utilize, I primarily just put money in there to pay bills. Updating my paycheck and updating all my other incomes that I have. As you guys can see, YouTube and sponsorships are at 0. And also I'm just noting, because that is my expected pay for the month. Next, I'm going into my investment section and putting in those budgets. So I did add a brokerage account and a VUL account to my investment portal. If you guys do want to know more about those different investment avenues, let me know. I do want to start an emergency fund account this month, so if you have any suggestions for some high yield savings account, also let me know. Now here is the nitty gritty, some of my debt payoffs. One thing is, I really want to get a better understanding of where my debt is at and how I can get it lower. Now I've kind of like laid out all my different debts that I want to pay off throughout the year, I'm just going in and putting in my monthly contributions, and essentially this is the amount that I would like to contribute towards my debt on a monthly basis. My goal, of course, is to pay everything off. Now I'm going up to my income summary and making the adjustments necessary for the changes that I made to my spreadsheet. I'm taking things out and adding things in. So for total investment spent, I'm actually going to take that out and change it to total income, and I'm going to just put and copy and paste over the correct information. Also, I'm changing all of my different like fixed expense, variable expense, and debt payoffs to negatives. And one thing I did notice was that I really want to capture my credit cards, just because, again, one of my goals is to pay off my credit cards by the end of this year, hopefully. I do have a lot of lofty financial goals, so hopefully I'll be able to make that. But since that is one of my goals, I'm trying to figure out the dates that they are due, as well as the date that the statements are due. Just because if you pay your credit card on the due date, is actually the wrong date. You want to pay your credit card on the statement date so that it actually affects your credit score. So that's basically what I'm outlining here. Is the date is going to be the statement date, and the pay date is going to be the date I actually want to pay. As I'm kind of going through my credit cards, I'm also looking at the different numbers and changing them. I also deleted out my debt payoff just because in actuality it's accounting for a lot of things that I will be paying off slower, like my student loans. So I didn't really want that again to account for my total income summary. Also, if you guys hear my dog in the background, sorry about that. But yeah, so basically the way that you can find your due dates for your credit cards is just by going to your credit card app or your credit card statements that comes out in the mail or via email. I'm highlighting the positives green, even though I am saving money up for emergency fund. I still want to make that green. You guys probably are like, why is your mist so high? So as y'all saw, I am moving, so I did add additional budget for that. Okay, so now that I've kind of gotten a good idea of my budget, I'm just putting in some of my more personal expenses. I did decide to add a firm over. Even though it is in my debt payoff, I do want to account for those monthly payments since they are fixed expenses. Now I'm just taking a look and modifying things within my variable expense. I took nails out just because I already have a maintenance self-care kind of bucket. Off to the side of the screen, you're going to see my bank statements / credit card statements. As I mentioned, I am trying to keep all my payments to just one central area, which is primarily my American Express and Bank of America credit cards. So now I'm just kind of going through each of my different bank statements, checking to see how much I spent in the month of January. I know you guys saw a few February, but just focusing on the month of January, and I'm just adding everything up. In this section, my goal is to, again, get a clear understanding of what I actually spent and what I didn't spend. As I mentioned, I am going through and checking both my Bank of America account as well as my American Express account. And I'm checking my Bank of America account because I did drive my Tesla across country, and that is actually connected to my Bank of America account. Y'all are literally getting all the nitty-ditty details of my bank account statements, so enjoy the transparency bucket when it comes to finances. So in this next section, I'm taking a hard look at my debt payoff. So now I'm just kind of going back to each of my accounts to see what has changed. And woohoo, student loans has went down. Bank of America did go up, but again, a lot of that is due to my moving expense. Discover did go up a bit. Chase went up a bit. Affirm went up, but I didn't put the total amount of Affirm when I first created this. Also, I didn't contribute to my brokerage account, and I did not save anything in my emergency savings fund. Now, I did, on the other hand, get a substantial amount of rental income come in, so that did help out. I did zero out my savings because, again, I did not save, and now I'm just double checking everything to make sure that my debt is accurate and reflecting of where I am. So as you guys can see, I netted positive this month. Now I'm just going, yay for that. So now, just to kind of do a pre-reset for February month, I'm just putting in my income that is rolled over from January. I'm adding in the income that I have received, keeping my paycheck the same. I actually need to add that from 2 months worth to one month's worth or 2 weeks worth. Now I'm just going to go over my shared expense, seeing if I need to change anything. As I mentioned earlier in the video, a lot of these different bills like utilities come out in the previous month, so these came out for me already, so I'm going to go ahead and add these in. For rent, I wasn't quite sure what to put in there just because I did get locked out of my rental portal now that I have moved from that old place. So I'm just gonna budget out $500 and just kind of wait to see what the final payment comes out to be. Next, I just really want to edit my variable expenses. I definitely went over budget last month, so this month I really want to keep my variable expenses to about 1/3 of my paycheck. And now I'm adding in my different vacations that I have planned, just because I do need to start budgeting for those as well. And taking a look at my debt payoff, there's things that I do want to change about it, so I'm going to actually add a section to there, just because I didn't really have a good way of how I kept track of everything. So now I want to keep track of what I actually contribute to it. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is my January / into February budget review. Hope to see you guys next week. Bye.